All right. Hey, y'all. Welcome to my channel. If you're new to my channel, one of the things I made resolution was earlier this year was at least once a week I would do a live stream, and so far I've been living up to it so far. Almost the end of the year, we'll see what happens. Anyways, more often than not, these live rants are just rants about whatever it is at that moment in time, and on any general subject. Never rehearse. It's just off the top of my head, whatever it may be. And mind you, I should say that I don't do uh, what's it called, fact checking entirely. It's just whatever I read or whatever I hear, etc. Basically, but I don't really do the proper fact checking that I should. But in any case, let's talk about week 13, or is it week 14? I can't remember exactly. But in any case, I kind of was off on a few of these games that I mentioned last week. One of them was the Falcon and Jets. I knew it was going to be a close game, but I think I stayed away from that one. Cardinals and Steelers. I thought the Steelers for sure would win that game. That was a mistake on my part. I knew the Chargers were going to beat the Patriots. I thought it was going to be a little bit more, and I thought they were going to cover the spread, but they didn't. That was a mistake on my part. The Lions and Saints. I pretty much said that the Lions would win, but I think the spread was different on them, and like they didn't cover in this situation. The Dolphins covered the spread. I think I called out on that. The Texans and Broncos, that one I was totally off on. I mean, I knew Stroud was going to be good enough, but I said if I had my choice, I would go with the Broncos because the fact was, I don't think they were going to cover the spread, but I think the fact was is the Broncos were red hot, but looks like the Texans are red hot. Stroud is coming into his own. Looks like the Texans might have found their QB. The Bucks and Panthers, I knew the Bucks were going to win that game, but I thought they were going to cover a little bit at least, but they didn't. Browns and Rams, that was a tough one. I thought for sure the Browns would win in this case, but turns out the Rams showed up at that point. 49ers and Eagles, I stayed away from that game, as I said, because I wasn't sure. I thought that was going to be a close game. I had no idea it was going to be routing of that nature, honestly. That was something that threw me off. If I known that, this was going to be a case where, like, the 49ers were going to do that, I think that means it shows that I don't want to say that the number one team, because it's going to be interesting to see how this plays out in the playoffs. But at this rate, the number one team right now would be the 49ers. Number two team would be still the Eagles. And the number three team would most likely be the Chiefs. But the fact that the way that the Chiefs lost to the Packers as well, too, was a big, big upset, I think, quite honestly. And the fact is, it looks like Jordan Love is coming into his own. It seems like the Packers may have found their quarterback once. I forgot the guy's name now. Who's the Packers head coach? McFlurry? No, Packers. Sorry, I gotta look it up. Matt LaFleur. The fact that LaFleur started trusting him a little bit more and let him, open it up for him a little bit more. I think he sees how good, Love is at this point. So I was genuinely surprised that the Packers were able to beat the Chiefs like that. Quite honestly, because like that should not have happened. But then again, let's not forget, if you saw the game, if you saw Sunday night's game, it seems like the refs were against Kansas City. Either one, the refs were pissed off about something, what some of the teams did on Kansas City, or two, they had money on the game, and they can't affect the games, or they knew other people that had money on the game, and they needed their help, and so they affected those games. I mean, like plays that weren't called, plays that were called, which were phantom calls. I mean, quite honestly, that was a little surprise. But yeah, I think that was one of the upsets. But again, the other upset, as I said, was the Cardinals taking the Steelers. I mean, honestly, that the Steelers were doing decent enough to the point where like they should have won that game, but the fact that they lost, it's like mind-boggling. What the hell happened there? Um, like I said, the Dolphins. You could say they're the best team because they're 9-3, but one of the top three. But I don't think so. If you had to go between the Dolphins and the Cowboys, I think the Cowboys would take them. Forget about the 49ers and forget about the Eagles. I think either one of those two teams, their defense would take out Tua. They can contain hell. And I think that's the same thing with Dallas, the Cowboys defense. They could contain hell and they could contain Tua. That I think it wouldn't be a high scoring game. And I think if Dak were to minimize his mistakes or turnovers for that matter, I think then they would be able to beat the Dolphins. The Lions, I mean, it's been a long time since we've seen a Lions team this good, actually. They're like 9-3 right now. if they finish 14-3, that's mass impressive actually. I would never have seen that happening. The Colts beating the Titans. Yeah, I mean, it was hard to say, but I think I picked the Titans if I remember correctly, and like it just so happens that the Colts won. So, but in any case, like tonight's game now is going to be the Jaguars and Bengals. It's going to be the Jaguars, of course. Can they cover the spread? I don't know, but well, the line is Jacksonville's 10. So yeah, I would say they can cover the spread. I think they will be able to cover the spread in this case, because look for Lawrence to go crazy on the Bengals. The fact that Bengals won't be able to score, it's going to be a different story altogether, and that's pretty much it on that front. Let's see, anything else outside of that? Mind you, of course, again, you're welcome to leave a comment in the comment section once this video becomes permanent. For the YouTube site, it is also streaming onto Twitch, but I don't see any comments in the Twitch end of things. At least I don't think so, because last time I tried I'm using Restream, and Restream sorry, I am using OBS. I should say I'm using OBS, and I'm using the Restream plugin to stream out to the two platforms. Sometimes Restream doesn't really send me the notifications as far as who's messaging and who's not. So if you are messaging, I don't know. Yeah, okay. Let me see. But in any case, yeah, if you want to follow me on Twitch, you're welcome to follow me. I think if I get enough followers, I can make my videos permanent. But in any case, what else can I say? I mean, the Mets. It'll be interesting to see what happens with the Mets. I would love to see the Mets, pick up Yamamoto, but also Otani, of course, too. The Soto sweepstakes is out there. I mean, it looks like the Padres are asking for a lot for Soto. I don't think the Mets are willing to give up as many of their prospects for Soto. If anything, I would probably go do a 2-to-1 trade of what's his name? Lindor. Well, I don't know if I would trade Lindor because you need a shortstop and you don't really have any good shortstops. But the polar bear, he's definitely worth it because I think he's not worth that kind of money compared to Soto. I mean, between the two, Soto is definitely younger than him. Let's put it that way. Actually, let me see. Are they the same age? Alonso is 94. Soto. He is. Doesn't say how old he is. Dang. Why doesn't it show the dates? I now have to go to Wikipedia. 98. So he is younger than. He's definitely younger than Alonso. So if you had a choice between Soto and Alonso, I would go with Soto in a heartbeat. The only problem is I don't think the Mets should give up that money to get Soto. I mean, if anything, go ahead, give up Alonso and maybe McNeil. I think McNeil as well too, because honestly, I think he's on the decline now. McNeil is definitely on the decline. You should trade him off while he's hot. Like I said, when they should have traded off J.D. Davis when he was hot, they should have traded him off. They would have gotten some serious prospects, but they didn't. And what happens? They got nothing. They got Ruff, which ended up doing nothing for them. And now J.D. Davis is doing really well with San Francisco. So I think if the Mets were smart, they should have traded off Davis, J.D. when he was red hot and when he was ready. But they didn't, and that's the unfortunate part. Outside of that, yeah, there's not much else I can say about that. More than anything else, it's a sad day for that, but it is what it is. I'm looking at the New York Times for a second. I'll say that last week was an interesting week. Basically, you had 3 people that died: Rosalind Carter, or the past 2 weeks, Rosalind Carter, Henry Kissinger, and Sarah O'Day. That's kind of like 3 big, well-known people. Quite honestly, what the heck is Riz? Actually, it's 2023. Word of the year is Riz. He has no rhythm. Has no style, charm, or attractiveness. These Gen Zers. What the hell is a Riz? Okay, I had no idea. All right, whatever, whatever. Honestly, um, let's see anything else I can see here. Making a real case of Bobby Tails, intuitive guy. I gotta go. Django 5's coming out. Gobs of data. Oh no, that's gobs. Let's see what else we got here. Kind of curious. Wonderful. 23andMe confirms that ancestry data on 6.9 million users. I'm probably one of those users, probably. I have a feeling. Let's see what they say. I don't remember exactly what happened, but I remember, if I remember correctly, one of their users, not one of their employees got suckered, essentially. It was social engineering. And they had high privileges at that point as well, too. Whoa, the Model 3 won't be eligible for the $7,500 federal tax credit. That's interesting. Twilio is laying off another 5% of employees following activist pressure. Spotify is laying off people. It's a weird time, honestly. I think maybe I should jump into like AI. It makes you wonder though, like, with these, these hacks, especially what happened on 23andMe. Is that the right method of storing genetic sequence data of people, basically? Now, let's be honest. If you have the sequence information of people, you could basically manufacture specific drugs or poisons to that genetic sequence so that other users won't be affected by it. And that would be mass. Ooh, that would be bad. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if the DoD is trying to do something like that right now, or other nefarious people. Nefarious actors, sorry. Anyways, in any case, I'm already at 15 minutes. I try to keep my things up to less than 15 minutes, or under 20 minutes at least, unless I'm going on a full-on rant. But as I said, like basically with NFL, look, my number one team, right? The number one team at this point right now is showing that's the 49ers. Number two team is going to be the Eagles. The number three team, I would say, is the Cowboys. And number four would be most likely the Miami Dolphins. Unless otherwise, I still think those are the four top teams for me right now. The likelihood of who's going to make it to the Super Bowl on the NFC, it's looking more and more like the 49ers, unless something happens again with the 49ers. On the AFC side of things, the safest bet would have been Kansas City, but the way Miami's playing, I wouldn't be surprised if Miami goes all the way, unless somehow Kansas City has the refs on their side for some reason. But I think it's going to be Kansas City. Miami more than anyone else. It's not going to be Buffalo. I think they're pretty much done. They lost. They're out of it. They're going to be out of the playoffs. It'll be interesting to see what happens with Texas and Jacksonville, specifically how Jacksonville's playing. it seems like we're seeing the emergence of Trevor Lawrence. All he needs is a few more weapons, and I think we'll see how brilliant of a quarterback he is. That he might be that next coming of Peyton Manning, not the next coming of Tom Brady, but the next coming of Peyton Manning. If he has that capability of learning and going with that at that point, that's why I wish the Giants had like pretty much tanked that season. They could have gotten Trevor Lawrence that time. It was the Trevor Lawrence sweepstake at that point, quite honestly. And I thought for sure the Giants were gonna tank it so they could get him, but it didn't happen, unfortunately. So Jacksonville was fortunate, and they're building up from there. Anyways, with that, I'll leave it at that. For those who have enjoyed my channel, enjoy my videos, and enjoy my content, please subscribe if you haven't subscribed. Also, for those on Twitch, if you can follow or subscribe, that'd be great. Again, for those that are on the YouTube side of things, if once it becomes this becomes permanent, you're welcome to leave a comment. I do read all my comments, and I do respond to them when they warrant a response. But with that, I'll leave it at that. Unfiltered, unedited, and as always,